quickly assess whether or not, the odors were coming from, whether the person making the call was downwind of an odor. I mean, we used to get calls all the time, and we could quickly dismiss them. And I don't think we have a wind thing here, but I would recommend that we at least document and inform staff who normally gets these calls.
It varies. It's usually the front office, or sometimes we get emails.
So it's a long time after the event, because we don't have a 24-hour hotline.
There's some people who call AQMD and they call us.
AQMD is a very good option for anybody that has odor complaints, because they'll make the entity move. Anyway, I don't, I think we're being very proactive, but I think a good deal of what we're doing is, reasonable waste of staff's time, because we go out and we find, nothing. And so what I'd like to do is have staff try to understand is if there's any way they can figure it out, without having to go through the steps that we do go through. I would recommend we go through them until we can figure it out. But if there's some way, to have staff have the information so they don't waste their time and go do these things. South Coast Plaza calls and we jump up in the middle of the night and go out there and try to do something, and the odor logger says, it was not our problem. It's a waste of staff's time. But I want them to be responsive. Orange County Sand District is extremely responsive. Mesa is also very odorous at their colored water plant. Orange County Sand District finally figured out that that's where people were, what they were smelling when they went by that plant. Orange County Water District, have the people call Orange County Sand District when they're the culprit. So it's a.
This is interesting. I mean, several months ago, I mentioned you when I do my walks in the morning. I go down to Santa River Trail and I come up Geisler. And for the longest time, at least once a week, there was an OCSD truck down there near the golf course, and then some private guy, or at least didn't have a marker. And they always had a monitor out, and it finally dawned on me that it was some kind of odor thing, because they weren't doing anything else. They didn't have a manhole cover open or anything else. So they were doing some, at least once a week I'd see those guys out there. So they are proactive, I think.
Well, they have very sophisticated instrumentation that can smell. Basically, we and Orange County Sand District has an AQMD regulation of, I think, half a part per million at the boundary. So that's why it's so important for us to be down around 1 part per million.
Okay. Anything else on that issue?
No, Mr. President, for your information.
Thank you. Smart covers.
This item was presented to the board at the October study session, and there was the recommendation, or at least discussion, to install additional smart covers at our critical stations. Basically, the stations that are generating more than 500 million gallons per day. And the board directed to bring this to tonight's meeting to take formal action, and that is to approve appropriating $26,985 from the undesignated. I'm sorry, it's actually not undesignated. It's actually from the contingency account to the capital outlay budget for procuring and installing 6 smart covers.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Discussion?
I think it's a great thing. We need to do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I totally agree too.
The only thing is California was left out, but that's okay.
It's less than 500.
When you're on vacation, there's minimal flow there.
We close one of the stations.
Yeah, we can
We
do that.
can move one of them.
It's got just
Might as well. We always have
It
a
only
place.
serves one street, Alaska.
Okay, no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Quarterly budget report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Stacy Corbus will be giving this report.
Thank you. We have our final numbers ending September 30th. For the solid waste fund, we've expended 17% of the total budget through the year. We're expecting some savings both in personnel as well as the special special programs, specifically the household hazardous waste program. At this time, we're expecting most line items to come in within budget. Given that it is only 3 months into the fiscal year, it's a little difficult to make some of those assumptions, given that so many of the district's operations are either on an as-needed or ongoing basis, some of which are also seasonal. For the liquid waste fund, we've had expenditures totaling 12% of the budget. Part of this savings is due to a transfer out of the liquid waste fund to the asset management fund. This transfer will take place during the second quarter. It's a transfer in the amount of $1,748,000. Additionally, we're going to experience some offsets from budget in both part-time and full-time salaries, which we believe will negate each other. We're expecting to have a year-end balance. It says in your staff report of $34,000. I did find an error in one of my spreadsheets where it didn't calculate appropriately. In both the solid waste and liquid waste fund, we're seeing some savings in PERS costs actually. As the staff in the district has turned over and new employees have come in, they're paying their full 7% of PERS. So I expect that at year end, you're probably going to see about a 40% savings in PERS, in the employee portion of PERS costs. If there are any questions on the summary sheets that have been provided to you, I'd be happy to address them at this time. Otherwise, this report is just receive and file.
Board, do we have any questions? Bob?
I'm very impressed with the report. What I would like on the capital improvement part of the report is to have the engineer's estimate and a bid, if there is a bid, and the start date of the construction project and estimated completion date. If you could add that, that would be significant additional information.
Okay.
These numbers are a little bit difficult to follow without that information.
Okay.
And you know, just where you have where you actually have bids and the engineer's estimate, so I can look at it more objectively.
Anyone else have a comment or question?
I just had one. You mentioned household hazardous waste. We have a balance. You know what that balance is? Is it listed here?
A balance in terms of
What
we've spent so far this fiscal
what
year?
we haven't expended.
Just give me one moment.
'Cause right now that's only for seniors, is that correct?
Yes.
To date, we have a $50,000 budget for household hazardous waste, and to date, we've spent just under $2,000.
So we'll have to consider doing something different.
Have to get the word out.
Yeah, the numbers have gone up, but I think it's,
Education.
yeah, the numbers, I mean, the number of collections have gone up, definitely for seniors. It's just, maybe we just budgeted
Too high.
yeah.
That'd be something for us to discuss.
Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Mike?
Scott, there's been some publicity that the Costa Mesa Police Department's gonna be collecting pharmaceuticals. Did they contact you for any input?
No, actually, I think at one time when we saw this in the process, we might even comment back to the daily pilots. I think we do this all year round.
Yeah, that's what I
You
mean.
know, so no, I think this is a grant that they received, and all the police departments, they receive a grant from Homeland Security, so right, it's all the city's police departments that are doing this.
I just, because it's a waste situation, I would've thought they would've contacted us to get something, but they're pretty busy with other things. so maybe
Newport's
that's
doing the
what
same thing.
Right, and I
Yes,
think
not Newport's.
they got a grant, I think it's all from a grant.
My daughter-in-law's calling.
Okay, that was my question.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll receive and file that quarterly report. Operations and CIP carry forward request.
Thank you, Mr. President. Stacy Crowe, will be giving this report too.
Every year, staff brings forward a list of the CIP projects that were not completed in the previous fiscal year and request a carry forward. By the general nature of CIP projects, they can often span several fiscal years. This year, we have unspent funds for both capital improvement projects as well as operations. The operational costs are associated with the AB 939 grant that the district has received, and additional costs for carry forward to perform piping and valve replacement at the 21st Street pump station. I would like to make one correction to the report. If you go to page 2, there's a table listing all of the projects. Project number 196 has the wrong balance listed. There's an encumbrance that staff did not take into consideration. So I'd like to let you know that the carry forward amount for project 196 is actually $1,037,194, with a new total for the carry forwards for all CIP projects at $3,659,179.
Move it.
Second.
Of course, each one of these items is going to, what am I trying to say here? It's going to be on a different timetable as far as eating the,
We're still
spending that money.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay.
Did we need a motion on this? Or
No,
just report?
this is
Just
report,
yes,
yes,
report.
report.
No, we do need
need a
a
motion? Okay,
yes,
nice.
yes.
And Bob did, and I seconded.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those,
What does the motion I mean exactly?
To move it into this.
Oh, to just
fiscal
move
year.
it in?
Yeah.
Okay,
Carry
okay.
it forward.
Sounds good.
yep, everybody understand? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, move along to engineers report. Rob?
Thank you, Mr. President. First item is CIP updates. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Board?
Looks good.
Thanks.
Good.
Thank you. Item 18 is, what we have here is one of the pieces of emergency equipment that would go out at the Canyon Pumping Station as part of Project 196. We have successfully negotiated an easement with 2 property owners. They have signed the easement agreement as prepared by Colin Burns. Our district manager participated in the negotiation of costs. The cost for the 5-year easement is very reasonable. We chose 5 years because the pumping station is scheduled to be abandoned in 5 years. So everything is in place. The project plans and specifications are currently out to bid, and bid opening is November 5. So we have an easement ready to be signed and recorded by the board. We will have a contractor soon, and we will be able to install that emergency equipment at that pumping station, which we have had 2 large spills in the way past. So we've had trouble with Edison at that pumping station, and this would rectify that problem.
Very good. Art?
When's the one-time payment going to be paid? Is it before we start construction, or what time period?
I believe that when we sign this agreement, we're actually starting our 5 years. So it would mean that the payment would be due soon. We could explain to them that as soon as we open bids, we can pay them then, but the 5-year term starts as of the date of the agreement, which will be tonight. So that's what was anticipated.
I'm just curious in case the ownership of the property changes within that period of time.
Well, this will be a recorded agreement, and that it is binding on their successors. And by recording it, it will show up on title under both properties.
Right with the land. Did you see the trustee? No. Poff? I wonder if that was Dr. Poff's property.
They actually pronounce it Fab.
Oh, so it wasn't a, there was a,
There's
Yeah,
Dr. Poff.
Dr. Poff was a,
Team
did all the team doctor for all the 4 high schools here, and I saw the name, and I thought, I wonder if that's his family.
It's been made.
His son's a realtor here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that answers my question.
I move approval.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just a curiosity thing. Did it start at a higher amount or a lower amount, and how did we get the
It started at a higher amount. I was the intermediary between Scott and them. So so I played the middleman. And
Who was Mutt and who was Jeff?
That's right.
Good cop, bad cop?
I was the good guy, he was the bad guy.
He was the bad cop, huh? Well, very fitting.
Okay, that's.
That
that's
worked.
good. Just curious.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries.
Thank you, directors. The next item is number 19, is addendum number 3 to our standard yearly cleaning program. And we have revised the program since we acquired our new Vector truck, so that we almost split the footage between our own field crew and National Plant, which saves us approximately $90,000 a year. So this proposed addendum is for National Plant's share of the footage, and our own crew has already started the cleaning for this fiscal year.
Actually, they interject.
They stopped already?
Yeah, our truck's in the shop right now. They had some problem with the steering, so we had to take it up to Carson. It's there right now. So I do recommend we still implement this plan, so this agreement, so we can start with NPS. And if the truck is going to be there for a long period of time, we may have to amend this again and allow them to pick up that work that we were supposed to do.
It's under warranty, though.
Yeah, it's under warranty. We got email confirmation. Nothing's coming off. We're not going to pay anything. And so yeah, it's a little disheartening that the truck's relatively new and we're having this problem.
Yeah.
But it's a safety issue, so we have to bring it in, and they're taking. I just don't have right this time. I don't have the time of downtime it's going to take. They don't know yet, so I just want to get that to your
But
attention.
this contract is for a year, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, we could pick it up if we had to meet our.
And it starts next July.
Right. Well, I mean, this contract they'll start right away, right? Once we
Right,
implement.
this is for the cleaning in the fiscal year we are in. So we need to clean by June 30th, 2014. And we are starting early. We're actually starting before the rainy season, which is a good thing. And National Plant, when they clean, they use 2 trucks, not 1. So they're more than capable of handling any amount of the footage that we need to give them. And that has occurred in the past.
That was my point. Okay.
I just want to give you heads
Yeah,
up. So.
yeah.
Can I ask one question, Don?
Yeah.
I would like, I think staff is working on tightening up which manholes get plugged and sealed. And then when I was at Orange County Sand District, these cleaning contracts were always a big issue. Staff was always dismayed with the cleaning. I don't think we're dismayed with National Plant Services, but I'm not sure that we know whether we should be dismayed or not. There's an old saying that we used to use: you get what you inspect, not what you expect.
That's pretty good.
That's very profound.
You want me to repeat it?
No, I've got it.
Well, I have to write it down because I forget it. But anyway, so what staff did, do we do any CCTV? We do a minimal amount of CCTVing where staff wants
Exactly.
them to do.
In
So,
the contract, it requires 1% of the footage be CCTV
and it's at our request.
at our request,
Yeah.
what lines, and we review, and we use that as a sample for the type of work they do.
I would hope that in the future we get a GIS coordinate on the manholes that we're going to plug and seal, and I think staff's working on that. And then, give them a work order request or something, and then have staff go check to see that they did the work.
Yeah.
That's all I would ask.
I believe Joe does that, right? He follows, make sure that they replug and reseal.
That's good. That's real good.
So you get what you inspect, not what you expect.
That's a great comment.
Anyway,
Recommended approval of addendum number 3.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Thank you, Director.
Treasurer's report, investment report.
Yeah, Mr. President, for our district treasurer could not be here tonight. His plane was delayed in Chicago, so he couldn't be here tonight. So I'll try to take a stab at this. And if there's any questions I can't answer, then my recommendation we table this for the next board meeting. But I just really want to reiterate if you review the financial review section where our portfolio we budgeted to earn an average of about a 0.9, a little less 1%, in the year ending next June 2014. We're already at 0.772%. So according to our district treasurer, he says our interest rates are starting to creep up, so we should be able to meet that goal, if not exceed it. So just want to mention that too.
Okay, any questions?
Jim, you remember at the investment committee meeting, they were giving PIMCO,
Yeah.
they were very concerned about PIMCO's performance, which was actually negative, so.
Everybody's concerned about PIMCO right now.
So I applaud, you know, our firm's methods, because they're doing way better than this huge national firm.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Okay. Move along to attorney's report.
I'm sorry, the recommendation to approve the investment report.
Oh, yeah.
So you're gonna delay it, or I thought you were gonna delay it?
No, I said, if there's any question I couldn't answer,
Oh,
then we
okay,
can
okay.
delay, but
Okay,
if there's no.
yeah.
Should we try to see if
I'd
we
entertain a motion.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Attorney's report. Alan?
Thank you, Mr. President. The President has asked that this item be agendized. The President believes that district communications between the board, management, staff, and outside persons who serve as officers of the districts could be improved. Brent Ives, whom the district has worked with before, provides those types of services and has provided a proposal to do this, which is the agenda item for approval. I have nothing further to add to this, and this is a
Move
matter
approval.
for the board's pleasure.
move approval?
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Any discussion?
Yeah. Can you say that again? Why we're looking to contract these guys, VHI?
We're trying to improve the communications of the district between the board, management, staff, and outside contractors who serve as district officers.
Okay, so any employment issues or anything like that are part of this?
There is a component of that, but it's part of trying to improve the communications process and get the district harmonious.
Yeah, I don't know BHI, I don't know Brent as well as you guys, as the rest of the board, because I guess he did the strategic plan and things like that. In my few conversations with him, when it comes to employment issues, I think, and I've made this clear before, that I think we need more than consulting, we need legal interpretations of things. I'm just not sure he has that ability to provide us with any kind of legal interpretation of things, or employee rights, or employee unrights, or things like that. So I was hoping if we were gonna do something like this, we could have more of a legal component involved with it.
Yeah, that was the reason we picked him, because he doesn't have that expertise, and you're right. I felt, and, that, we weren't to that point,
Okay.
that we needed that kind of advice. I think it's more along a communication, line and, on every level. I mean, we're doing a pretty good job, but we can do a better job of that. And that's what Brett is brilliant at, is bringing that out of organizations. So I think he's the right guy for the job personally. And I know what you're saying, but that's not where we're heading with this, as far as I'm concerned. We're not heading to any
Yeah.
real HR.
And we have Lieber Cassidy under contract
Yeah.
to do any regulation or HR staff assistance projects.
I guess my other question, and I'll direct it to you if you don't mind. In going through his contract and first of all, I appreciate you negotiating the terms down. That was very helpful. But the time frames that he presented in his document, do you have any opinion on those, or do you have any feel for that?
No, I do not.
It it seemed fairly realistic to me, but,
He has the same dollar amount in there that he had with the higher hourly rate, so that should you'd think that would adjust downward.
Yeah,
So he just didn't change that, but.
Yeah, I think based on the fact that we have if he's gonna be doing interviews with management and staff, the 16 hours seem to be adequate. I mean, we don't have a big staff to begin with, so 16 hours seemed reasonable. I just wanted to see if you had a feel for those hours.
Arlene, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that I feel comfortable on it because he's done it before and years ago with us as far as, going through our whole departments and just making us look like, we knew what was going on from every standpoint. And I think this is what he can do again. I was just curious, is he gonna also do the maintenance yard as far as people there, if they're?
Well, it'll be everybody.
Probably everybody in the organization.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just whoever he thinks he needs to, and hopefully he can give the president a little bit of authority to direct if something would be not necessary, or, emphasis needs to be in a certain other area within the scope of the contract that the president.
We
can
look at
direct.
this as a real healthy exercise, I mean, that's how I'm looking at it.
Well, it's good for us because we're never around to really know anything.
Exactly, I mean,
We come here just for the board meetings, just for study sessions, just for
we need
whatever.
the advice of a
Yeah.
professional in that, vein.
And
Anything
Mi-
else?
Mike is, and Mr. President, Mike is right, I mean, he is a let's all get along kind of a guy, so I mean, we know we're going into it with that thought in mind, and there is a possibility of going a different route with it, but he's the guy who's gonna try and get us to all get along, and, I think the hours are reasonable for the time he has to spend, and I don't think he's overspending or over-committing hours to it at all, and I think this is gonna help you dramatically with whatever you do with the personnel committee, whether you do it or
Oh,
not,
yeah, I
and what
think
the
it's-
scope of that will be, might be somewhat driven by what he finds, or how he gets the organization running.
And we're gonna have this expedited, I mean, we don't want this,
Yes.
we wanna get through this process,
I think
fairly
he's
quickly.
committed to getting this done before, mid-December, so
Mhm.
it's ambitious, but it certainly can be done.
Okay, anything else?
Do we need a motion?
Did already, Bob.
Oh,
I mean,
that's right.
I don't know if it's appropriate for Jim to ask us anything on this.
Comment?
Is there-
Certainly.
Okay.
Thank you, President Ferryman. My name again is Jim Mosier, and I just wanted to comment as a member of the public. This item is all very mysterious. I gather it's something that came out of the closed sessions, and because we're not privy to what happened at the closed sessions, we don't understand, or at least I don't understand, what problem this is addressing. And it's mentioning something about the general manager and his communication skills, so I just wanted to say in my interaction with him, when I have made comments in writing on the agenda, his response to me has always been very clear, concise, and logical, and I view him as an excellent communicator, so I'm really surprised that there would be any problem to be spending money on investigating. But it's apparently an issue that you understand from the closed sessions, and I do not. So, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments?
I guess I'll just make my last comment, Mr. President, if you don't mind. I'm not gonna support this because, I still deeply feel that we need more of a legal, and I understand the rationale, and I'm sure he'll give us a fantastic report, I mean, but I still believe that we need a little more legal background in what we're doing, and so I'm not gonna support it.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Abstention? Motion carries. Okay, let's move along. Is that, Alan, you have anything?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Local meetings. Orange County Sanitation District is the first one up, and I attended that meeting. They're going through about 3 or 4 audits of different parts of their operation over there, which is a lot of fun.
Financial audits, or just
Everything.
performance ups, really?
I mean, it's like 5 or 6 of them, so that's happening there. And then, we're going to introduce legislation, very soon, to allow Yorba Linda Water District to have a seat on the Orange County Sanitation Board, replacing the city of Yorba Linda. And they have gotten together and have worked this out. I mean, it's not an adversarial thing. But as it stands now, the city of Yorba Linda maintains about 40% of their sewer system. And they really don't want to be in the sewer business. And so they want to move that over to the Yorba Linda Water District. It's funny though, because John Anderson is our vice chair, and he's on the city council from Yorba Linda.
Yeah.
And he would be the, I guess next year, he would be the incoming president. And that looks like it's gonna all work out, because to get this legislation passed, it's probably gonna take us 2 years, you know, with all the hoops you have to jump through.
Well, if they do that, would he have to resign his chairmanship?
Well, it'll
not
expire, it will expire pretty close to the same time.
Really?
So we'd have to play that by ear.
Yeah,
And
he
Sean, incidentally, is he's an attorney, he's a very capable guy, and he knows his stuff. So we would like to, you know, have him as chairman for sure. So anyway, that was one thing that we discussed. As far as their negotiation with the union, they're getting ready to go to impasse, I think, and that may not be a bad thing, but you know, you hate to, you kind of hate to see that, but they haven't been able to work anything out. One other thing, and I'll just kind of generally disclose this to you. I mean, we did talk about it in closed session, but everybody knows that we are going to arbitration with SAPA. And
Mr. President, you might want to just disclose what's public on that item, because even though you're the board member for another entity, if you hear something in closed session, or the Attorney General takes the view that that's confidential to that government entity, it can't even be shared with the government entity that appointed you to go there. So,
I was just going to comment generally.
okay, that's good.
You know, this has been like a 15 to 20 year process. We have been adversarial with them for that length of time. And the good news is we're closing the gap, and it looks fairly encouraging. We're farther down the road than we've ever been, and you know, they've already spent, you know, about $150,000 apiece on this, and they haven't gone to arbitration yet. So anyway, good things could happen, but you know, I've learned not to count on that. But at any rate, that was about it, or the major.
You know, Mr. President, could I add something that's sort of related to that? Is you might know that the Orange County Water District is close to negotiating, concluding a deal with the Yorba Linda Water District and the City of Anaheim and Irvine Ranch Water District, where they're going to allow them to come into the Orange County Water District and put their straw in the ground that we all, you know, we have cheaper rates because we think that's our water, but they're supposed to, you know, Huntington Beach and Fountain Valley, we sued them over that issue about not identifying the environmental effects. But it looks like the agreement that's being worked out right now is everyone's going to be made whole. It's already here and it's overlying the basin. And somehow everyone's going to be made whole for the water that they suck out. So it's kind of related to the same.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, it's very close. And they're kind of putting the ink to the deal. I'm surprised it hasn't been in the paper yet.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for that
Yeah.
observation. Let's move along. Santa Ana River Flood Control.
There's no meeting.
Yeah, we didn't have a
It's
meeting.
next month.
Doc?
Just the executive committee met on the 8th of October. The, other than some brief announcements, the big discussion was on getting the bylaws approved and getting them back through, and comments had come back from several agencies relating to the changes in the bylaws. And probably the one thing that we talked about the most, and to to a certain extent, argued about the most was Mesa Water and Orange County Water District. Orange County Water District? Who does Sean Dwayne in
That's
Jersey?
Orange
Yeah,
County
you're
Water
right,
District.
you're right.
Both had sent letters opposing a change that we put in, allowing an appointed director to serve on the ISDOC Board of Directors. And there was some discussion about appointed directors. People in the cemetery district are appointed. And they said, no, that's not it. We don't want, Mesa Water and Orange County Water didn't want to allow someone who was appointed to a board to serve on the executive committee. And, not, guy from, no, the guy from Irvine Ranch, John Withers says, oh, is that the Schaefer amendment? And I said, yeah, but not spelled like I spell it. So, I mean, it was a blatant, I think, a blatant attempt by Mesa Water and Orange County Water District to keep Arlene from serving on the ISDOC executive. That's all it was. And some of us mentioned that, but bottom line was the executive committee decided not to honor the request from OCWB and Mesa to put that language in. We're going to allow an appointed director. And my comment was, hey, if those agencies don't want to approve, they can vote against the bylaws. There's, there's other votes. So that was the big discussion at ISDOC, and I was glad to defend my fellow board,
Good
Thank
for you.
Thank
Fellowship.
my fellowship. Thank you.
Let's see,
Good job, Sir Galahad.
CSDA.
No meetings this month, but I think all of you might have received your questionnaire or survey about the conference. Those of you that read your emails.
Yeah.
So I'd
Electronically.
encourage you to get them in if you, because that helps our membership committee, our education committee when planning next year's event.
CASA? Okay, as far as other meetings, I did go to the groundwater replenishment, you know, I'm on the board of directors of that, and we did get a report that we're kind of behind on the schedule. It may be 6 months to a year behind, but they felt that the contractor felt that they could make up some of that time. So, you know, we're very eager to get this done because it's going to pop us up to 100 million gallons a day. And, you know, we want it to happen sooner than later, but, you know, it's a little bit of a setback, but I think they'll make up some of that. So, that's all for that. Bob?
I attended the Orange County Sand District Strategic Planning Board workshop in early October. And then two of the items that affect our discussions tonight, and there's 7 or 8 different elements to their strategic plan, strategic initiatives, and staff went through and explained each one of them. You know, they're doing legislative advocacy and public outreach, and I think they have an ad hoc committee or maybe a permanent committee to do outreach. Odor control is one thing that they did discuss, and they have a white paper on that. And local sewer transfers, their big initiative is to transfer the Tustin local sewers, hopefully by the end of this year. Their hope is that by the end of this 2013 to Tustin, and that'll take care of. My sense is, and Herbert won't be very interested in continuing that endeavor like they have in the recent past. But we're involved in negotiating local sewer transfers, a few more to us. Rob has put together an estimate, and I think our general manager and Herbert and general manager of Orange County Sand District are still negotiating. They have a general manager's work plan like we do. I did have lunch with Jim Herberg. I hired Herberg back in '83, so I meet with him periodically. He thought the meeting was about the Costa Mesa trunk sewer, and he wanted to assure me that, you know, there's no issues with them. They're going to continue that effort. And as a matter of fact, on the operations committee in November, it's likely that they'll have the EIR on that project ready for approval, which you'll see then at the board. So, and we talked about sewer transfers, and he's not as interested in pushing that as they had been in the past, and it was a strategic plan element a year ago or so, maybe longer than that. So they do a good job of strategic planning like we do. And I think that's all I. Oh, then I attached my notes from the CASA conference or the CSDA conference that we attended in Monterey, where Scott was king for a day with the big award at the luncheon, was getting the general manager of the year. So congratulations again. But I attached my notes.
Plus other awards we received at the same time.
Yeah,
2 other awards.
year I was president, we got 3 awards. I think we have 5 or 6 in the last 2 years, which means staff write good award presentation. Deservedly so.
Any other meetings, Marlene?
My turn? Okay, I attended the ISDOC meeting on the 3rd, and at that meeting, actually Joan Finnegan's still out. She's coming along, but she's still out. I saw her the other day, and she just, things are very slow. As treasurer, we have $5,945.52 in ISDOC, and of course, because of that, they had a free lunch that we just finished having at ISDOC. And then, let's see, what's
And you forgot to mention that 5,000 of that budget is gonna be sent to OCOG for membership.
well, that's true. I was getting to that right now. There's OCOG, we approved that their votes were in, and so they're gonna do OCOG. And of course, we have to spend a lot of money on that. And then they talked about who else they would be having for future lunch meetings, and they talked about having a speaker on internship program for Cal State Fullerton, which we've used a lot, and which has been great. And then also they have the Orange County Register. They're thinking of the publisher of that coming to one of our meetings. And then they introduced the new Orange County, no, they didn't at that. That was Waco, so forget that one. Okay, then on 9/4, I went to the ledge meeting for the Chamber of Commerce, and at that meeting, the bills were read, and of course by now they've either been passed or amended or suspense, so, that's kind of neither here nor there. But anyway, I do have a packet on all that if you want to read it. And then on 9/6, I went to Waco, and the speaker and the topics were Orange County Sanitary District Capital Improvement Program, the update, the speaker Troy Edgar, yeah, was the chair, and he talked on it. Orange County Sanitation District, Jim Herper, and then the GM, he's the GM for the OCS, and then also the topic, an overview of elections in Orange County by Neil Kelly, which was very interesting. And we had that from the Orange County Register of Voters. And then on 9/9, Costa Mesa District closed session. Okay, we had a closed session and nothing was really, there was no action from it. I attended that. On 9/15, the Monterey trip. I have all the bells and whistles here if you want to look at any of it. So all the name tags and everything. And it was really a good conference. I thought it was excellent. And I think all of us attended. And of course, like Bob said, Scott was the man of the year. And that all kept going up for transparency. And what was the other one besides that? There was another. Yeah, district administrator, but there was another.
Well, there's the transparency, the GM of the year, and then the Special District Administrator
Yeah,
certification.
yeah. So, anyway, that was really good. And, then 9/26 was a public hearing that I attended, and that was it.
Thank you. Any other meetings or comments from the directors? Old business, I don't believe we have any. New business, likewise. Oral communications and director comments. Anybody have anything for the good of the cause?
Just real briefly, Mr. President, next Thursday, Halloween, is the ISTOC quarterly meeting
Oh, yeah.
at 11:30 at Orange County Walker District.
What day is it?
Next Thursday, the 31st.
31st.
Thirty-first.
I think costumes are optional for our meetings, so.
That one.
I win the costume contest every time, so I'll be there with bells on.
And then Tuesday and
I'll be
Wednesday.
dressed.
Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, I will be attending my first SDRMA board meeting
Oh,
in
fun.
Sacramento. So
How
I
exciting.
go up Tuesday and come home Wednesday night.
That's
I'll give
good.
you
Are
Whatever.
costumes optional?
no bomb.
Yeah, see if they wear one, Bob.
I'll be
Okay,
coming.
any further comments?
No, I just wanted to remind everybody that actually Art and I are sitting on that committee with the community.
Yeah.
What's going on, and they're coming along really well. And we went out for, the logos as a contest, and we're just getting real good response for it.
The ones I saw were really good,
Yeah,
but I just saw the first
I didn't
week.
bring them, I should've.
We had those, they were in your weekly report last week.
Right,
Yeah.
And we received more since then. That was
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so everybody's real excited
Now,
over it.
I have a question of, do we want to have the ad hoc committee choose the logo, or do we want to bring it back to the board in some way for discussion?
I think you should recommend to
Okay.
us what do you think is
Because
best.
we want to move on it
Yeah.
as soon as we can, so we would have to wait till could we do that at the study session we have in November?
Is this gonna be a new official seal or something less than that?
Same
70th
kind of person.
It's the
anniversary logo.
70th anniversary.
We're not
it
changing-
won't-
we're not
it
changing-
won't
we're not
replace-
changing
No,
our
not
seal.
changing.
No,
This
no.
is just
Why don't you bring back
a marketing
three?
device.
Yeah.
Okay, how about we'll bring back 3 or 4 of the best ones, and then for
That's what we
everybody to
could
look at.
do. And, we've got,
You two can do a sing
we've got a regular committee sitting on it, some of
Yeah,
the
there's a-
staff is.
We'll let the committee decide on the top
Yeah,
3 and 4.
Diane, Javier,
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, and,
Scott.
Scott, and us.
Yeah, let's get it on that
Okay.
agenda.
Okay, sounds cool.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
really, it's good. Everything's moving along really well.
Good.
And then we can really utilize this for everything, you know, even as far as the trash trucks and so forth. But we're just talking about, if we can get the logo done, then that's good for shirts, and everyone would have that. So, anyway, we'll give you a better report.
We're going to stay
November.
under our budget, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, you know our,
Knowing Art, I know we will.
I'm having trouble, but it's okay.
Okay, we're gonna go into closed session briefly, so everybody excuse themselves that doesn't belong here.
Mm.